Hello, and welcome to Shakespeare 2020 LA. Shakespeare 2020 LA is the Los Angeles division of Shakespeare Project 2020, a worldwide challenge created by Ian Desher to read the entire Shakespeare canon in 2020. Shakespeare 2020 LA is comprised of Los Angeles professional actors. Our players today are Jason Rennie, Christopher Carbo, Taylor Marr, Sasha Venn, Megan Wells, Pamela Roylance, Ron Dorn, J.D. Mata, Chris Klein, Richard Connolly, Kay Nicholson, Elizabeth Juvenal, John Eddings, and I'm Mary Carrick. Of all the plays that Shakespeare wrote, this most clearly reflects his relationship with his sovereign. James VI of Scotland inherited the crown of England in 1603 and became James I. Macbeth, first published in the Folio 1623, is Shakespeare's shortest tragedy. Shakespeare's source for the story is the account of Macbeth, King of Scotland, Macduff and Duncan, in Holinshed's Chronicles of 1587, a history of England, Scotland, and Ireland very familiar to Shakespeare and his contemporaries, although the events in the play differ extensively from the history of the real Macbeth. The events of the tragedy are usually associated with the execution of the Jesuit Henry Garnet for complicity in the gunpowder plot of 1605. The Porter speaks of the practice of equivocation, commonly used by the Jesuits to protect themselves from persecution. The themes in the play of superstition, vaulting ambition, loyalty, and revenge are brilliantly illuminated, warts and all. We can certainly see ourselves in the several elements of temptation to take the easy route. The Weird sisters, wayward sisters, prophesies that Macbeth shall be king hereafter and allows his wife to literally cut to the chase. If her husband is predestined for greatness, why not expedite the result? And the Weird sisters evoke chaos and doubt, a deadly combination, planting the seeds of evil. Nature's upset reflects the topsy-turvy behaviors being played out. When Banquo says, there's husbandry in heaven, their candles are all out. Their candles all are out. The stars which light the way are covered. And he not only foreshadows Duncan's murder, but all the evil deeds and plots brewing in the dark. The battle against evil is finally fully waged when Macduff reveals the horrible news. And enough is enough. Nature and mankind must right itself, and Malcolm calls for the restoration of order, goodness, and light. What needful else that calls upon us by the grace of grace, we will perform in measure, time, and place. Sit back in your spooky easy chair and enjoy our latest offering, William Shakespeare's Macbeth.
Act 1, Scene 1. A desolate place in Scotland. Enter 3 witches.
When shall we 3 meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won.
That will be ere the set of sun.
Where the place?
Upon the heath.
There to meet with Macbeth.
I come, Greg Malcolm.
Paddock calls.
Anon.
Fair is foul.
And foul is fair.
Hover through the fog and filthy air.
Fair is foul.
And foul is fair.
Hover through the fog and filthy air.
Act 1, Scene 2. King Duncan's camp. Enter King Duncan, Malcolm, Donalbain, Lennox, and a bleeding captain.
What bloody man is that? He can report, as seemeth by his plight, of the revolt, the newest state.
This is the sergeant who, like a good and hearty soldier, fought against my captivity. Hail, brave friend. Say to the king the knowledge of the broil, as thou didst leave it.
Doubtful it stood, as two spent swimmers that do cling together and choke their art. The merciless MacDonald, worthy to be a rebel, for to that the multiplying villainies of nature do swarm upon him. From the western isles of kerns and gallows glasses is supplied, and fortune on his damned quarrel smiling, showed like a rebel's whore. But all's too weak, for brave Macbeth, well he deserves that name, disdaining fortune with his brandished steel, which smoked from bloody execution, like Vala's minion, carved out his passage till he faced the slave, which ne'er shook hands nor bade farewell to him, till he unseamed him from the nave to the chops, and fixed his head upon our battlements.
Oh, valiant cousin, worthy gentleman!
As whence the sun gains his reflection, shipwrecking storms and direful thunders break, so from that spring whence comfort seems to come, discomfort swells. Mark, King of Scotland, mark. No sooner had justice had with valor armed, compelled these skipping currents to trust to their heels, but the Norwegian lord, surveying vantage, with furbished arms and new supplies of men, began a fresh assault.
Dismayed not this our captains Macbeth and Banquo?
Yes, as sparrows, eagles, or the hare, the lion. If I say sooth, I must report they were, as cannons o'ercharged with double cracks, so they doubly redoubted strokes upon the foe, except they meant to bathe in reeking wounds or memorize another Golgotha, I cannot tell. But I am faint. My gashes cry for help.
So well thy words become thee as thy wounds. They smack of honor both. Go, get him a surgeon. Who comes here?
The worthy Thane of Ross.
What a haste looks through his eyes, so should he look that seems to speak things strange.
God save the king.
Whence camest thou, worthy Thane?
From Fife, great king, whence Norwegian banners flout the sky and fan our people cold. Norway himself with terrible numbers, assisted by that most disloyal traitor, the Thane of Cawdor, began a dismal conflict, till that Bologna's bridegroom, lapped in proof, confronted him with self-comparisons, point against point, rebellious arm against arm, curbing his lavish spirits, and to conclude, the victory fell on us.
Great happiness!
That now Sweno, the Norway's king, craves composition, nor would we deign him burial of his men, till he dispersed at St. Colm's Inch $10,000 to our general use.
And what that Thane of Cawdor shall deceive our bosom interest. Go, pronounce his present death, and with his former title, great Macbeth.
I'll see it done.
What he hath lost, noble Macbeth hath won.
Act 1, Scene 3. A heath. Enter the three witches.
Where hast thou been, sister?
Killing swine.
Sister, where thou?
A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap, and munched and munched and munched. Give me, quoth I. Aroint thee, witch, the rump-fed Runyon cries. Her husband's to Aleppo gone, master o'er the tiger. But in a sieve, I'll to the sail, and like a rat without a tail, I'll do.
I'll give thee a wind.
Thou art kind.
And I another.
I myself have all the other, and the very ports they blow, all the quarters that they know. In the shipman's card, I'll drain him dry as hay. Sleep shall neither night nor day hang upon his penthouse lid. He shall live a man forbid. Weary 7 nights, 9 times 9 shall he dwindle, peak and pine. And though his bark cannot be lost, yet it shall be tempest tossed. Look what I have.
Show me, show me.
Here I have a pilot's thumb, racked as homeward he did come.
A drum, Macbeth doth come.
The weird sisters, hand in hand.
Posters of the sea and land.
Thus do go about.
Thrice to thine and thrice to mine.
And thrice again to make up 9.
Peace, the charms wound up.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen.
How far's to call to Forest? What are these, so withered and so wild in their attire that look not like the inhabitants of the earth and yet are on it? Live you, or are you aught that men may question? You seem to understand me by each at once her choppy finger laying upon her skinny lips. You should be women, and yet your beards forbid me to interpret that you are so.
Speak, if you can. What are you?
All hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Glamis.
All hail, Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor.
All hail, Macbeth, thou shalt be king hereafter.
Oh, good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things that do sound so fair? In the name of truth, are you fantastical, or that indeed which outwardly you show? My noble partner you greet with present grace and great prediction of noble having and of royal hope, that he seems rapt withal. To me you speak not. If you can look into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favors nor your hate.
Hail,
Hail!
Hail!
lesser than Macbeth and greater.
Not so happy, yet much happier.
Thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo.
Banquo and Macbeth, all hail.
Stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more. By Sinel's death I know I am Thane of Glamis, but how of Cawdor? The Thane of Cawdor lives, a prosperous gentleman, and to be king stands not within the prospect of belief, no more than Cawdor. Say from whence you owe this strange intelligence, or why upon this blasted heath you stop our way with such prophetic greetings. Speak, I charge you.
Oh, the earth hath bubbles as the water has, and these are of them. Whither are they vanished?
Into the air. And what seemed corporeal melted as breath into the wind. Would they had stayed.
Were such things here as we do speak about, or have we eaten on the insane root that takes the reason prisoner?
Your children shall be kings.
You shall be king.
And Thane of Cawdor too, went it not so?
The self-same two-man words. Oh, who's here?
The king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success. And when he reads thy personal venture in the rebels' fight, his wonders and his praises do contend, which should be thine or his. Silenced with that, in viewing over the rest of the selfsame day, he finds thee in the stout Norwegian ranks, nothing afeard of what thyself did make, strange images of death. As thick as tale came post with post, and every one did bear thy praises in his kingdom's great defense, and poured them down before him.
We are sent to give thee from our royal master thanks, only to herald thee into his sight, not pay thee.
And for an earnest of greater honor, he bade me from him to call thee Thane of Cawdor. In which addition, hail, most worthy Thane, for it is thine.
Can the devil speak true?
The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes?
Who was the Thane lives yet, but under heavy judgment bears that life which he deserves to lose. Whether he was combined with those of Norway, or did line the rebel with hidden help and vantage, or that with both he laboured in his country's wrack, I know not, but treason's capital, confessed and proved, have overthrown him.
Glamis and Thane of Cawdor, the greatest is behind. Thanks for your pains. Do you not hope your children shall be kings, when those that gave the Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less to them?
That trusted home might yet enkindle you into the crown, besides the Thane of Cawdor. But 'tis strange, and oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles to betray us in deepest consequence. Cousins, a word, I pray you.
Two truths are told as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. I thank you, gentlemen. This supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good. If ill, why have it given me earnest of success, commencing in a truth? I am Thane of Cawdor. If good, why do I yield to that suggestion whose horrid image doth unfix my hair and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature? Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My thought, whose murder yet is but fantastical, shakes so my single state of man that function is smothered in surmise, and nothing is but what is not.
Look how our partner's wrapped.
If chance will have me king, why chance may crown me without my stir.
New honors come upon him like our strange garments, cleave not to their mold, but with the aid of use.
Come what come may, time and the hour runs through the roughest day.
Worthy Macbeth, you stay upon your leisure.
Give me your favor. My dull brain was wrought with things forgotten. Kind gentlemen, your pains are registered where every day I turn the leaf to read them. Let us toward the king. Think upon what hath chanced, and at more time, the interim having weighed it, let us speak our free hearts each to other.
Very gladly.
Till then, enough. Come, friends.
Act 1, Scene 4. Forest, a room in the palace. Enter King Duncan, Lennox, Malcolm, and Donalbain.
Is execution done on Cawdor? Are not those in commission yet returned?
My liege, they are not yet come back, but I have spoke with one that saw him die, who did report that very frankly he confessed his treasons, implored your highness's pardon, and set forth a deep repentance. Nothing in his life became him like the leaving it. He died as one that had been studied in his death to throw away the dearest thing he owed, as it were a careless trifle.
There's no art to find the mind's construction in the face. He was a gentleman on whom I built an absolute trust. Oh, worthiest cousin! The sin of my ingratitude even now was heavy on me. Thou art so far before that swiftest wing of recompense is slow to overcome thee. Would thou hadst less deserved that the proportion both of thanks and payment might have been mine. Only I have left to say, more is thy due than all can pay.
The service and the loyalty I owe in doing it pays itself. Your Highness's part is to receive our duties, and our duties are to your throne and state children and servants, which do but what they should by doing everything safe toward your love and honor.
Welcome hither. I have begun to plant thee, and will labor to make thee full of growing. Noble Banquo, that hast no less deserved, nor must be known no less to have done so. let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart.
There, if I grow, the harvest is your own.
My plenteous joys, wanton in fullness, seek to hide themselves in drops of sorrow. Sons, kinsmen, thanes, and you whose places are the nearest, I know we will establish our state upon our eldest Malcolm, whom we name hereafter the Prince of Cumberland, which honor must not unaccompanied invest him only, but signs of nobleness like stars shall shine on all deservers, from hence to Inverness, and bind us further to you. Huh?
The rest is labor which is not used for you. I'll be myself the harbinger and make joyful the hearing of my wife with your approach. So humbly take my leave.
My worthy Cawdor.
The Prince of Cumberland. That is a step on which I must fall down or else o'erleap, for in my way it lies. Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires. The eye wink at the hand, yet let that be which the eye fears, when it is done, to see.
True worthy Banquo, he is full so valiant, and in his commendations I am fed. It is a banquet to me. Let's after him, whose care is gone before to bid us welcome. It is a peerless kinsman.
Act 1, Scene 5. Inverness, Macbeth's castle. Enter Lady Macbeth, alone, with a letter.
They met me in the day of success, and I have learned by the perfectest report they have more in them than mortal knowledge. When I burned in desire to question them further, they made themselves air, into which they vanished. Whilst I stood wrapped in the wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before these weird sisters saluted me and referred me to the coming on the time with Hail, King, that shalt be. This have I thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness, that thou mightst not lose the dues of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay it on thy heart and farewell. Glamis thou art, and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised. Yet I do fear thy nature. It is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art now without ambition, but without the illness should attend it. What thou wouldst highly, thou wouldst thou holily, wouldst not play false, and yet wouldst wrongly win, wouldst have great Glamis, that which cries, thus thou must do if thou have it, and that which thou dost fear to do, that wishes should be undone, hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear and chastise with the valor of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round, which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned withal. What is your tidings?
The king comes here tonight.
Thou art mad to say it. Is not thy master with him, who, were it so, would have informed for preparation?
So please you, it is true. Our Thane is coming. One of my fellows had the speed of him, who, almost dead from breath, had scarcely more than would make up his message.
Give him tending. He brings great news. The raven himself is hoarse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here and fill me from the crown to the toe top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood, stop up the excess and passage to remorse, that no compunctions, visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breasts, and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers. Wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief, come, thick night, and Polly in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold. Great Glamis, worthy Cawdor, greater than both by the all hail hereafter. Thy letters have transported me beyond this ignorant present, and I feel now the future in an instant.
My dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight.
And when goes hence?
Tomorrow, as he purposes.
Oh, never shall sun that morrow see. Your face, my Thane, is as a book where men may read strange matters to beguile the time. Look like the time. Bear welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. He that's coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch, which shall to all our nights and days to come give solely sovereign sway and masterdom.
We will speak further.
Only look up clear. To alter favor ever is to fear. Leave all the rest to me.
Act 1, Scene 6. Before Macbeth's castle. Enter King Duncan, Malcolm, Donalbain, Banquo, Lennox, Macduff, and Ross.
This castle hath a pleasant seat. The air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses.
This guest of summer, the temple-haunting martlet, does approve by his loved masonry that the heaven's breath smells wooingly here. No jutty, frieze, buttress, nor coign of vantage, but this bird hath made his pendant bed and procreant cradle, where they most breed and haunt, I have observed. The air is delicate.
Oh, see our honored hostess. The love that follows us sometime is our trouble, which still we thank as love. Herein I teach you how you shall bid God ild us for your pains, and thank us for your trouble.
All our service in every point twice done, and then done double. We're poor and single business to contend against those honors deep and broad, wherein your majesty loads our house. For those of old and the late dignities heaped up to them, we rest your hermits.
Where's the Thane of Cawdor? We coursed him at the heels and had a purpose to be his purveyor, but he rides well, and his great love, sharp as his spur, hath helped him to his home before us. Fair and noble hostess, we are your guest tonight.
Your servants ever have theirs themselves, and what is theirs in compt to make their audit at your highness's pleasure, still to return your own.
Give me your hand. Conduct me to mine host. We love him highly, and shall continue our graces towards him. By your leave, hostess.
Act 1, Scene 7. A room in Macbeth's castle. Enter Macbeth.
If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. If the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his surcease success, that but this blow might be the be-all and the end-all here, but here, upon this bank and shoal of time, we'd jump the life to come. But in these cases, we still have judgment here, that we but teach bloody instructions, which, being taught, return to plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poisoned chalice to our own lips. He's here in double trust. First, as I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed, then as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Besides, This Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off. And pity, like a naked newborn babe striding the blast, or heaven's cherubim horsed upon the sightless couriers of the air, shall blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears shall drown the wind. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other. How now? What news?
He is almost supped. Why have you left the chamber?
Hath he asked for me?
No, you not, he has.
We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honored me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon.
Was the hope drunk, wherein you dressed yourself, hath it slept since, and wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely from this time? Such I account thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act and valor as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteemst the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat in the adage?
Prithee, peace! I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none.
What beast was't that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man. And to be more than that, what you were, you would be so much more than a man. Nor time nor place did adhere, and let you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now dost unmake you. I have given suck, and know how tender it is to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from its boneless gums and dashed out the brains, had I swore as you had done this.
If we should fail...
We fail! But screw your courage to the sticking place, and will not fail when Duncan is asleep. Whereto the rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him. His two chamberlains will I, with wine and wassails, so convince that memory, the warder of the brain, shall be a fume, and the receipt of reason a limbic only, when in swinish sleep their drenched natures lies as in a death. What cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What would not put upon his spongy officers, who shall bear the guilt of our great quell?
Bring forth men children only, for thy undaunted mettle should compose nothing but males. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood these sleepy two of his own chamber, and used their very daggers that they have done?
Who dares receive it other? As we shall make our griefs and clamor roar upon his death.
I am settled, and bend up each corporal agent to this terrible feat. Away, and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide, or the false heart doth know.
Act 2, Scene 1. A courtyard in Macbeth's castle. Enter Banquo and Fleance. How goes the night, boy?
The moon is down. I have not heard the clock.
She goes down at 12.
I think it is later, sir.
Oh, take my sword. There's husbandry in heaven. Candles are all out. Oh, take this too. Oh, heavy summons lies on like lead upon me, and yet I would not sleep. Merciful powers, restrain in me the cursed thoughts that nature gives way to in repose. Give me my sword. Who's there?
A friend?
But sir, not yet at rest. King's abed. It hath been in unusual pleasure, and sent forth great largesse to your offices. This diamond he doth greet your wife withal by the name of most kind hostess, and shut up in measureless content.
Being unprepared, our will became the servant to defect, which else should free of rot.
All's well. I dreamt last night of the three weird sisters. To you they've showed some truth.
I think not of them. Yet, when we can entreat an hour to serve, we would spend it in some words upon that business, if you would grant the time.
At your kindest leisure.
If you shall cleave to my consent when 'tis, it shall make honor for you.
So I lose none in seeking to augment it, but still keep my bosom franchised and allegiance clear. I shall be counselled.
Good repose the while.
Thanks, sir. Like to you.
Go. Bid thy mistress, when my drink is ready, she strike upon the bell. Get thee to bed. Is this a dagger I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation proceeding from the heat oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshallest me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes have made the fools of the other senses. Or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade and dudgeon gouts of blood that was not so before. Oh! There is no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now o'er the one half world, nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder alarmed by his sentinel, the wolf, whose howls he's watched. Thus, with a stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides towards his design, moves like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps. Which way they walk, for fear thy very stones prate of my whereabouts, and take the present horror from the time which now suits with it. Whiles I threat he lives. Words. To the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. I go. And it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
Act 2, Scene 2. The same courtyard. Enter Lady Macbeth.
That which has made them drunk hath made me bold. What hath quenched them hath given me fired. Hark, peace. It was the owl that shrieked, the fatal bellman, which gives the sternest good night. He is about it. The doors are open, and the surfeited grooms do mark their charges with snores. I have drugged their possets, that death and nature do contend about them, whether they live or die.
Who's there? What hope?
Alack, I am afraid they have awakened, and 'tis not done. The attempt and not the deed confounds us. Hark! I laid their daggers ready. He could not miss them. Had he not resembled my father as he slept, I had done it. My husband.
I have done the deed. Didst thou hear a noise?
I heard the owls scream and the crickets cry. Did you not speak?
When?
Now.
As I descended.
I.
Hark! Who lies in the second chamber?
Donald Bain.
This is a sorry sight.
A foolish thought to say, a sorry sight.
As one did laugh in his sleep, and one cried murder. That they did wake each other, I stood and heard them. But they did say their prayers and addressed them again to sleep.
They are two lodged together.
One cried, God bless us, and amen the other, as they had seen me with these hangman's hands, listening their fear. I could not say amen when they did say, God bless us.
Consider it not so deeply.
But wherefore could I not pronounce amen? I had most need of blessing, and amen stuck in my throat.
These deeds must not be thought. After these ways, so it will make us mad.
Methought I heard a voice cry, sleep no more, Macbeth does murder, sleep. The innocent sleep. Sleep that knits up the raveled sleeve of care, the death of each day's life, sore labor's bath, balm of hurt minds, great nature's second course, chief nourisher in life's feast.
What do you mean?
Still it cried, sleep no more to all the house. Clarence hath murdered sleep, and therefore Cawdor shall sleep no more. Macbeth shall sleep no more.
Who was it that thus cried? Why, worthy Thane, you do unbend your noble strength to think so brain sickly of things. Go, get some water, and wash this filthy witness from your hand. Why did you bring these daggers from the place? They must lie here. Go, carry them and smear the sleepy grooms with blood.
I'll go no more. I'm afraid to think what I have done. Look once again, I dare not.
Infirm of purpose, give me the daggers. The sleeping and the dead are but pictures. 'Tis the eye of childhood that fears a painted devil. If he do bleed, I'll gild the faces of the grooms withal, for it must seem their guilt.
Whence is that knocking? How is with me when every noise appalls me? What hands are here? They pluck out mine eyes. Will all great Neptune sees no wash this blood clean from my hand? No. This my hand will rather the multitudinous seas incarnadine, making the green one red.
My hands are of your color, but I shame to wear a heart so white. I hear a knocking at the south entry. Retire we to our chamber. A little water clears us of this deed. How easy it is, then. Your constancy hath left you unattended. Hark, more knocking. Get on your nightgown, lest occasion call us, and show us to be watchers. Be not lost so poorly in your thoughts.
To know my deed, 'twere best not know myself. Wake, Duncan, with thy knocking. I would thou couldst.
Act 2, Scene 3. The south gate of Macbeth's castle. Enter a porter. Oh, is a knocking indeed. If a man were porter of Hellgate, he should have old turn in the key. Oh, knock, knock, knock. Who's there in the name of Beelzebub? Oh, here's a farmer that hanged himself on the expectation of plenty. Come in, time. Have napkins enough about you. Here, you'll sweat for it. Who's there in the other devil's name? Oh, Faith, here's an equivocator that could swear in both scales against either scale, who committed treason enough for God's sake, yet could not equivocate to heaven. Come in, equivocator. Knock, knock, knock! Who's there, Faith? Oh, Faith, here's an English tailor come hither for stealing out of a French hose. Come in, tailor. Here you may roast your goose. Oh, God, never it quiet! What are you? This place is too cold for hell. Oh, devil, porter it no further. Thought to let in some of all professions that go the primrose way to the everlasting bonfire. Oh, anon, anon. Pray you, remember the porter.
Was it so late, friend, ere you went to bed, that you do lie so late?
Oh, faith, sir, we were carousing till the second cock, and drink, sir, is a great provoker of three things.
What three things does drink especially provoke?
Oh, well, marry, sir. Nose painting, sleep, and urine. Oh, lecherate, sir, it provokes and unprovokes. It provokes the desire, but it takes away the performance. Therefore, much drink may be said to be an equivocator with lechery. It makes him, and it mars him, sets him on, takes him off. It persuades him and disheartens him. Now, it makes him stand to, not tan to. Conclusion, equivocates him in a sleep, and giving him the lie, leaves him.
I believe drink gave thee the lie last night.
That it did, sir. The very throat of me. But I requited him for his lie, and I think being too strong for him, though he took up my legs sometime, yet I made a shift to cast him.
Thy master stirring. Our knocking has awakened him. Here he comes.
Good morrow, noble sir.
Good morrow, both.
Is the king stirring, worthy thing?
Not yet.
Well, he did command me to call timely on him. I have almost slipped the hour.
I'll bring you to him.
I know this is a joyful trouble to you, but yet 'tis one.
The labor we delight in physics pain. This is the door.
I'll make so bold to call, for 'tis my limited service.
Goes the king hence today?
He does. He did appoint so.
The night has been unruly where we lay. Our chimneys were blown down, and, as they say, lamentings heard it through the air, strange screams of death, and prophesying with accents terrible, our dire combustion and confused events. You hatched to the woeful time, the obscure bird clamored the livelong night. Some say the earth was feverous and did shake.
'Twas a rough night.
My young remembrance cannot parallel a fellow to it.
Oh, horror, horror, horror! Tongue nor heart cannot conceive nor name thee.
What's the matter?
Confusion now hath made his masterpiece. Most sacrilegious murder hath broke ope the Lord's anointed temple and stole thence the life of the building.
What did you say, the life?
Mean you his majesty?
Approach the chamber and destroy your sight with a new Gorgon. Do not bid me speak. See, and then speak yourselves. Awake! Awake! Ring the alarm bell! Murder and treason! Banquo, Donalbain, Malcolm, awake! Shake off this downy sleep, death's counterfeit, and look on death itself. Up, up, and see the great doom's image. Malcolm, Banquo, as from your graves, rise up and walk like sprites to countenance this horror. Ring the bell!
What's the business? That such a hideous trumpet calls to parley the sleepers of the house. Speak, speak.
Oh, gentle lady, 'tis not for you to hear what I can speak. The repetition in a woman's ear would murder as it fell. Oh, Banquo, Banquo, our royal master's murdered!
Woe, alas! What? In our house?
Too cruel anywhere. O dear Duff, I prithee contradict thyself and say it is not so.
Had I but died an hour before this chance, I had lived a blessed time. For from this instance there's nothing serious in mortality, all is but toys. Renown and grace is dead, the wine of life is drawn, and the mere lees is left this vault to brag of.
What is amiss?
You are, and do not know it. The spring, the head, the fountain of your blood is stopped. The very source of it is stopped.
Your royal father is murdered.
Oh, by whom?
Those of his chamber, as it seemed, had done it. Their hands and faces were all badged with blood, so were their daggers, which, unwiped, we found upon their pillows. They stared and were distracted. No man's life was to be trusted with them. Oh, yet I do repent me of my fury that I did kill them.
Wherefore did you so?
Well, who can be wise? Amazed, temperate and furious, loyal and neutral in a moment. No man. The expedition of my violent love outrun the pause of reason. Here lay Duncan, his silver skin laced with his golden blood, and his gashed stabs looked like a breach in nature for ruin's wasteful entrance. There, the murderers, steeped in the colors of their trade, their daggers unmannerly breached with gore. Who could refrain that had a heart to love, and in that heart courage to make love known?
Me, Hanslow!
Look to the lady.
Why do we hold our tongues? That most may claim this argument for ours?
What should be spoken here, where our fate hidden in auger hole may rush and seize us? Let's away, our tears are not yet brewed.
Nor our strong sorrow upon the foot of motion.
Look to the lady. And when we have our naked frailties hid, that suffer in exposure, let us meet and question this most bloody piece of work to know it further. Fears and scruples shake us. In the great hand of gods I stand, and thence against the undivulged pretense I fight of treasonous malice.
And so do I.
So all.
Let's briefly put on manly readiness and meet in the hall together.
Well contented.
What will you do? Let's not consort with them. To show an unfelt sorrow is an office which the false man does easy. I'll to England.
To Ireland, I. Our separate fortune shall keep us both the safer. Where we are, there's daggers in men's smiles. The near in blood, the nearer bloody.
This murderous shaft that's shot hath not yet lighted, and our safest way is to avoid the aim. Therefore, to horse, and let us not be dainty of leave-taking, but shift away. There's warrant in that theft which steals itself when there's no mercy left.
Act 2, Scene 4. Outside Macbeth's castle. Enter Ross with an old man.
10 I remember well, within the volume of which time I have seen hours dreadful and things strange, but this score night hath trifled former knowings.
Good father, thou seest the heavens as troubled with man's act, threatens his bloody stage. But by the clock 'tis day, and yet dark night strangles the travelling lamp. Is night's predominance or the day's shame that darkness does the face of the earth entomb, when living light should kiss it?
'Tis unnatural, even like the deed that's done. On Tuesday last, a falcon towering in her pride of place was by a mousing howl hawked and killed.
And Duncan's horses, a thing much strange and certain, beauteous and swift, the minions of their race, turned wild in nature, broke their stalls, flung out, contending against obedience as they would make war with mankind.
'Tis said they eat each other.
They did so, to the amazement of mine eyes that looked upon it. Here comes the good Macduff. How goes the world, sir, now?
Why, see you not?
Is it known who did this more than bloody deed?
Those that Macbeth hath slain.
Alas the day! What good could they pretend?
They were suborned. Malcolm and Donalbain, the king's 2 sons, are stolen away and fled, which puts upon them suspicion of the deed.
Against nature still, thriftless ambition will raven up thine own lives' means. Then 'tis most like the sovereignty will fall on Macbeth.
He is already named and gone to Scone to be invested.
Where is Duncan's body?
Carried to Colmkill, the sacred storehouse of his predecessors and guardian of their bones.
Will you to Scone?
No, cousin, I'll to Fife.
Well, I will thither.
Well, may you see things well done there. Adieu, lest our old robe sit easier than our new.
Farewell, father.
God's benison go with you and with those that would make good of bad in friends of foes.
Act 3, Scene 1. Forest, a room in the palace. Enter Banquo. Oh, thou hast it now. King, Cotter, Glamis, all as the weird women promised. I fear thou platest most foully for it. Yet it was said it should not stand in thy posterity, but that myself should be the root and father of many kings. If there come truth from them, as upon thee, Macbeth, their speeches shine, why, by the verities on thee made good, may they not be my oracles as well, and set me up in hope? Oh, hush, no more.
Here's our chief guest.
If he had been forgotten, it had been a gap in our great feast, and all thing unbecoming.
Tonight we hold a solemn supper, sir, and I'll request your presence.
I let your highness command upon me, to which my duties are with the most indissoluble tie for ever knit.
Ride you this afternoon.
Aye, my good lord.
We should have else desired your good advice, which still hath been both grave and prosperous in this day's council. But we'll take tomorrow. As far you ride?
As far, my lord, as will fill up the time twixt this and supper. Go not my horse the better, I must become a borrower of the night for a dark hour or twain.
Fail not our feast.
My lord, I will not.
We hear our bloody cousins are bestowed in England and in Ireland, not confessing their cruel parricide, filling their hearers with strange invention. But of that tomorrow, when therewithal we shall have cause of state craving us jointly. Hie you to horse, adieu, till you return at night. Goes Fleance with you?
Aye, my good lord, time does call upon us.
I wish your horses swift and sure of foot, and so I do commend you to their backs. Farewell. Let every man be master of his time till 7 at night. To make society the sweeter welcome, we will keep ourselves till supper time alone. Well then, God be with you. Sarah, a word with you. Attend those men our pleasure.
They are, my lord, without to the palace gate.
Bring them before us. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. Fears and Banquo stick deep, and in his royalty of nature reigns that which would be feared. 'Tis much he dares. And to the dauntless temper of his mind he hath a wisdom that doth guide his valor to act in safety. There is none but he whose being I do fear. And under him my genius is rebuked, as it is said Mark Antony's was by Caesar. He chid the sisters when first they put the name of king upon me, and bade them speak to him. Then, prophet-like, they hailed him a father to a line of kings. Now upon my head they placed a fruitless crown, and put a barren scepter in my grip, thence to be wrenched with an unleal hand, no son of mine succeeding. If to be so, for Banquo's issue have I filed my mind. For them, the gracious Duncan, have I murdered, put rancors in the vessel of my peace, only for them, and mine eternal jewel given to the common enemy of man, to make them kings, the seeds of Banquo kings. Rather than so. Come, fate, into the list, and champion me to the utterance. Who's there? Now, go to the door and stay there till we call. Was it not yesterday we spoke together?
It was, so please your highness.
Well then, now have you considered my speeches? Know that it was he, in the times past, which held you so under fortune, which you thought had been our innocent self. Now this I made good to you in our last conference, past in probation with you, how you were born in hand, how crossed the instruments who wrought with them, and all things else that might, to, well, half a soul into a notion crazed, say, thus did Banquo.
You made it known to us.
I did so, and went further, which is now our point of second meeting. Do you find your patience so predominant in your nature that you can let this go? Are you so gospeled to pray for this good man and for his issue, whose heavy hand hath bowed you to the grave and beggared yours forever?
We are men, my liege.
Aye. In the catalogue you go for men, as hounds and greyhounds, mongrels, spaniels, curs, choughs, water rugs, and demi-wolves are clipped all by the name of dogs. The valued file distinguishes the swift, the slow, the subtle, the housekeeper, the hunter. Everyone according to the gift which bounteous nature hath in him closed, whereby he does receive a particular addition from the bill that writes them all alike. And so of men. Now, if you have a station in the file, not in the worst rank of manhood, say it, and I will put that business in your bosoms whose execution takes your enemy off, grapples you to the heart and love of us who wear our health but sickly in his life, which in his death were perfect.
I am one, my liege, whom the vile blows and buffets of the world have so incensed that I am reckless what I do to spite the world.
and I another, so weary with disasters, tugged with fortune, that I would set my life on any chance to mend it or be rid on't.
Both of you know Banquo was your enemy.
True, my lord.
So is he mine. And in such bloody distance that every minute of his being thrusts against my nearest of life. And though I could, with bare-faced power, sweep him from my sight and bid my will avouch it, yet I must not. For certain friends that are both his and mine, whose loves I may not drop, but wail his fall, who I myself struck down. And thence it is that I to your assistance do make love, masking the business from the common eye for sundry weighty reasons.
We shall, my lord, perform what you command us.
Though our lives be...
Your spirit shine through you. Now within this hour, at most, I will advise you where to plant yourselves, acquaint you with the perfect spy of the time, the moment on't, for must be done tonight, and something from the palace. Always thought that I require a clearness. And with him, to leave no rubs nor botches in the work, Fleance, his son, that keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me than is his father's, must embrace the fate of that dark hour. Resolve yourselves apart. I'll come to you anon.
We are resolved, my lord.
I'll call upon you straight, abide within. It is concluded. Banquo, thy soul's flight, if it find heaven, must find it out tonight.
Act 3, Scene 2. Another room in the palace. Enter Lady Macbeth and a servant.
Is Banquo gone from court?
Aye, madam, but returns tonight.
Say to the king I would attend his leisure and have a few words.
Madam, I will.
Naught's had, all spent. Where our desire is got without consent, 'tis safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy. How now, my lord? Why do you keep alone, of sorriest fancies your companions making, using those thoughts which should indeed have died with them they think on? Things without all remedy should be without regard. What's done is done.
We have scorched the snake, not killed it. She'll close and be herself, whilst our poor Malice remains in danger of her former tooth. But let the frame of things disjoint, both the worlds suffer, ere we will eat our meal in fear, and sleep in the affliction of these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. Better be with the dead, whom we, to gain our peace, have sent to peace, than on the torture of the mind to lie in restless ecstasy. Duncan is in his grave. After life's fitful fever, he sleeps well. Treason has done his worst, nor steel, nor poison, malice domestic, foreign levy, nothing can touch him further.
Come on, gentle my lord. Sleek o'er your rugged looks, be bright and jovial among your guests tonight.
So shall I love. And so I pray be you. Let your remembrance apply to Banquo. Present him eminence, both with eye and tongue, unsafe the while that we must lave our honors in these flattering streams and make our faces visitors to our hearts, disguising what they are.
You must leave this.
Full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife. Thou knowest that Banquo and his fiancé lives.
But in them nature's copies, not in turn.
There's comfort yet. They are assailable. Then be thou jocund. Ere the bat hath flown his cloistered flight, ere to black Hecate summons the shard-born beetle, with his drowsy hums hath rung night's yawning peal, there shall be done a deed of dreadful note.
What's to be done?
Be innocent of the knowledge, dearest Chuck, till thou applaud the deed. Come, sealing night, scarf up the tender-eyed pitiful dame with thy bloody and invisible hand, cancel and tear to pieces that great bond which keeps me pale. Light thickens, and the crow makes wing to the rooky wood. Good things of day begin to droop and drowse, whilst night's black agents to their praise do rouse. Things bad begun make strong themselves by ill. So prithee, go with me.
Act 3, Scene 3. A road outside of the palace. Enter 3 murderers.
But who did bid thee join with us?
Macbeth.
He needs not our mistrust, since he delivers our offices and what we have to do the direction just.
Then stand with us. The west yet glimmers with some streaks of day. Now spurs the lated traveler apace to gain the timely end, and near approaches the subject of our watch.
Hark, I hear horses.
Give us a light there. Oh.
And 'tis he. The rest that are within the note of expectation already are in the court.
His horses go about.
Almost a mile, but he does usually, so do all men, from hence to the palace gate, make it their walk.
A light. A light.
'Tis he.
Stand to it.
Will it rain tonight?
Let it come down.
Ah! Oh, treachery! Ugh! Fly, good Fleance, fly! 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 Ah! Thou mayst revenge! Slave!
Who did strike out the light?
Was not the way?
There's but one down. The sun is fled.
We have lost best half of our affair.
Well, let's away and say how much is done.
Act 3, Scene 4. A hall in the palace, with a banquet prepared. Enter Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, Ross, and Lennox.
You know your own degrees. Sit down. At first and last, the hearty welcome.
Thanks to your majesty.
Ourself will mingle with society and play the humble host. A hostess keeps her state, but in best time we will require her welcome.
Pronounce it for me, sir, to all our friends. For my heart speaks, they are welcome.
See, they encounter thee with their hearts' thanks. Both sides are even. Here, I'll sit in the midst. Be large in mirth, and on we'll drink a measure, the table round. There's blood upon thy face.
'Tis Banquo's then.
Well, 'tis better thee without than he within. Is he dispatched?
My lord, his throat is cut. That I did for him.
Thou art the best of the cutthroats. Yet he's good that did the like for Fleance. If thou didst it, thou art the nonpareil.
Most royal sir, Fleance escaped.
Then comes my fit again. I had else been perfect, whole as the marble, founded as the rock, as broad and general as the casing air. But now I am cabined, cribbed, confined, bound into saucy doubts and fears. But Banquo's safe.
Aye, my good lord, safe in a ditch he bides, with 20 trenched gashes on his head, the least of death to nature.
Thanks for that. There the grown serpent lies. The worm that's fled hath nature that in time will venom breed, no teeth for the present. Get thee gone. Tomorrow we'll hear ourselves again.
My royal lord, you do not give the cheer, the feast is sold. That is not often vouched, while 'tis a making, 'tis given with welcome. To feed we're best at home. From thence the sauce to meat is ceremony. Meeting were bare without it.
Sweet remembrancer. Now, good digestion wait on appetite and health on both.
May it please your highness sit.
Here had we now our country's honor roofed, were the graced person of our Banquo present, who may I rather challenge for unkindness than pity for mischance.
His absence, sir, lays blame upon his promise. Please it your highness to grace us with your royal company.
The table's full.
Here is a place reserved, sir.
Where?
Here, my good lord. What is it that moves your highness?
Which of you have done this?
What, my good lord?
Thou canst not say I did it. Never shake thy gory locks at me.
Gentlemen, rise. His highness is not well.
Sit, worthy friends. My lord is often thus, and hath been from his youth. Pray you, keep sit. The fit is momentary. Upon a thought, he will again be well. If much you note him, he shall offend him and extend his passion. Feed and regard him not. Are you a man?
Aye, and a bold one that dare look on that which might appall the devil.
Oh, proper stuff. This is the very painting of your fear. This is the air-drawn dagger which you said led you to Duncan. Oh, these flaws and starts, impostures to true fear, would well become a woman's story at a winter's fire, authorized by her grandam, shame itself. Why do you make such faces? When all's done, you look but on a stool.
Prithee, see there! Behold, look! Lo, how say you? Why, what care I? If thou canst not, speak too. If charnel houses and our graves must send those that we bury back, a monument shall be the maws of kites.
What, quite unmanned in folly?
If I stand here, I saw him.
Fie, for shame.
Blood hath been shed ere now in the olden time, ere human statute purged the gentle wheel. Aye, and since too, murders have been performed too terrible for the ear. The time has been that when the brains were out, the man would die, and there an end. But now they rise again, with 20 mortal murders on their crowns, and push us from our stools. This is more strange than such a murder is.
My worthy lord, your noble friends do lack you.
I do forget. Do not muse at me, my most worthy friend. I have a strange infirmity, which is nothing to those that know me. Come, love and health to all. Then I'll sit down. Give me some wine, fill full. I drink to the general joy of the whole table, and to our dear friend Banquo, whom we miss. Would he were here. To all and him we thirst, and all to all.
Our duties and the pledge.
Avaunt and quit my sight! Let the earth hide thee, thy bones are marrowless, thy blood is cold. Oh, thou hast no speculation in those eyes which thou dost glare with.
Think of this, good peers, but as a thing of custom, 'tis no other, only it spoils the pleasure of the time.
What man dare, I dare. Approach thou, like the rugged Russian bear, the armed rhinoceros, or the Hurricane tiger. Take any shape but that, and my firm nerves shall never tremble. Oh, be alive again. And dare me to the desert with thy sword. If trembling I inhabit, then protest me the baby of a girl. Hence, horrible shadow, unreal mockery, hence! Why so, being gone? I am a man again. Pray you sit still.
You have displaced the mirth, broke the good meeting with most admired disorder.
Well, can such things be and overcome us like a summer's cloud without our special wonder? You make me strange even to the disposition that I owe, and now I think you can behold such sights and keep the natural ruby of your cheeks when mine is blanched with fear.
What sights, my lord?
I pray you speak not. He grows worse and worse. Questions enrage him. At once, good night. Stand not upon the order of your going, but go at once.
Good night and better health. Attend his majesty.
A kind good night to all.
It will have blood, they say. Blood will have blood. Stones have been known to move and trees to speak. Augurs and understood relations have, by magpies and choughs and rooks, brought forth the secrets man of blood. What is the night?
Almost at odds with morning. Which is which?
How sayest thou that Macduff denies his person at our great bidding?
Did you send to him, sir?
I hear it, by the way, but I will send. There's not a one of them but in his house. I keep a servant feed. I will tomorrow, and betimes I will to the weird sisters. More shall they speak. For now I'm bent to know by the worst means, the worst. For mine own good, all causes shall give way. I am in blood stepped in so far that should I wade no more, returning were as tedious as go o'er. Strange things I have in head that will to hand, which must be acted ere they may be scanned.
You lack the season of all natures. Sleep.
Come! Will to sleep. My strange and self-abuse is the initiate fear that wants hard use. We are but young indeed.
Act 3, Scene 5. The Heath. Enter the three witches, meeting Hecate.
Why, how now, Hecate? You look angrily.
Have I not reason, beldams as you are, saucy and overbold? How did you dare to trade and traffic with Macbeth in riddles and affairs of death? And I, the mistress of your charms, the close contriver of all harms, was never called to bear my part or show the glory of our art? And, which is worse, all you have done hath been but for a wayward son, spiteful and wrathful, who, as others do, loves for his own ends, not for you. But make amends now, get you gone, and at the pit of Acheron meet me in the morning. Thither he will come to know his destiny. Your vessels and your spells provide, your charms and everything beside. I am for the air. This night I'll spend unto a dismal and fatal end. Great business must be wrought ere noon. Upon the corner of the moon there hangs a vaporous drop profound. I'll catch it ere it come to ground, and that, distilled by magic sleights, shall raise such artificial sprites as by the strength of their illusion shall draw him on to his confusion. He shall spurn fate, scorn death, and bear hopes above wisdom, grace, and fear. And you all know security is mortal's chiefest enemy. Hark, I am called. My little spirit sees, sits in a foggy cloud, and stays for me.
Come, let's make haste. She'll soon be back again.
Act 3, Scene 6. Another part of Scotland. Enter Lennox and another lord.
My former speeches have but hit your thoughts, which can interpret farther. Only I say, things have been strangely born. The gracious Duncan was pitied of Macbeth. Mary, he was dead. And the right valiant Banquo walked too late. Whom you may say, if it please you, Fleance killed, for Fleance fled. Men must not walk too late. Who cannot want the thought how monstrous it was for Malcolm and for Donalbain to kill their gracious father? Damned it fact! How it did grieve Macbeth! Did he not straight and by his rage the two delinquents tear, that were the slaves of drink and thralls of sleep? Was not that nobly done? Aye, and wisely too, for it would have angered any heart alive to hear them deny it. So that I say, he has borne all things well, and I do think that had he Duncan's sons under his key, as an it please heaven, he shall not, they should find. What it were to kill a father, so should Fleance. But peace, for from broad words and cause he veiled his presence at the tyrant's feast, I hear Macduff lives in disgrace. Sir, can you tell me where he bestows himself?
Well, the son of Duncan, from whom this tyrant holds the due of birth, lives in the English court and is received of the most pious Edward with such grace that the malevolence of fortune nothing takes from his high respect. Thither Macduff has gone to pray the holy king upon his aid to wake Northumberland and warlike seaward, that by the help of these, with him above to ratify the work, we may again give to our tables meat, sleep to our nights, free from our feasts and banquets bloody knives, do faithful homage and receive free honors, all which we pine for now. And this report hath so exasperate the king that he prepares for some attempt of war.
Sent he to Macduff?
He did, and with an absolute, "Sir, not I," the cloudy messenger turns me his back and hums, as who should say, "You'll rue the time that clogs me with this answer."
And that well might. Advise him to a caution to hold what distance his wisdom can provide. Some holy angel fly to the court of England and unfold his message ere he come, that a swift blessing may soon return to this our suffering country under a hand accursed.
I'll send my prayers with him.